Time is 6:31. I'd like to call this meeting to order. All please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could have a moment of silence for our first responder heroes, please. Thank you. You may be seated. Kristen, has roll call been taken?
Yes.
Don, would you like to start with the introductions tonight, please?
Don Bryce, DPW Director.
Tessa Swede, Director of Senior Services and Community Engagement.
Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk.
Ellen Glass, City Manager.
Jerry Lake, City Council.
Pam Powell, City Council.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Brad Dick, Mayor Pro Tem.
Tom Hicks, City Council.
Denise Miller, City Council.
Brenda Simons, City Councilor.
And we have one piece of correspondence. That is a letter from Monica Lerner. I would like to ask.
Madam Mayor, may I make an amendment to the agenda?
Yes. You can make a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we add 2 topics to the agenda. And that, the first one is the discussion of the columbarium in Fairview Cemetery, and also of the deer problem here in Linden.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Do we need an all in favor? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, so we'll go back to our piece of correspondence. We had a piece of correspondence from Monica Lerner. I'd like to add that to our record, as well as see if we can get the answers to these emailed to City Council, please.
Madam Mayor, if I have the opportunity to address during public comment, can I do that, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Are there any public comments? Anyone wishing to do a public comment at this time? Going once. Seeing none? Ellen?
Just, I guess, in regards to the letter that we received from Monica Lerner at 152 West Ralston Road. Obviously, we're talking about the chickens tonight. I'll leave that up to council to decide, how they want to address that. She referenced in here that in July of 22, she was forced to put down her rescue dogs in regards to a kennel that she had. And just for clarification purposes, she had applied for a zoning application and things for the kennel, and I think some of you on council probably are aware of this, some may not. And because her property was not zoned in the proper zoning to allow kennels, she was asked that anything related to kennel activities discontinue. She was not asked to put down any animals. There was not a cease and desist order sent that she referenced, so I just wanted to clarify on that. On the West Ralston Road, the house was watched for hours over a 3-day weekend. I'm not sure what she's referencing other than at previous council meetings, there had been comments in regards to speeding and things of that nature down West Ralston Road, and they had asked that the police actually patrol. They had, I think even Councilor Link had even mentioned that he appreciated it being down on the other end as well. So I'm assuming that that's what that was in regards to and stuff. In regards to the grass and weeds, the project is obviously not complete and things like that, and so I don't even think has final walkthrough. We have not even done a final walkthrough on the project for West Ralston, Don.
No, but the residents are responsible to cut and maintain their grass, so, that's not part of the contract.
Right. And then the third driveway, I guess, Don, this is in regards to the West Ralston Road project as well. Do you want to discuss, just give an update on that? the
Sure,
driveway?
I emailed her previously in regards to this and explained that the project did not budget for a driveway to a lot that does not have a residential house or an existing driveway. It's just a grass lot. We also had another cutout that was further down on the west end of the project that had the same thing. It was just an open cutout so that people didn't have to jump the curb to access part of their property. And this is the same thing. So we do not have a plan to put in a drive approach at that location.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any council questions about the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none. Kristen? Oh, do we need a motion?
Is there a motion to
Oh,
approve?
sorry, yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Now, Kristen, sorry.
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Simons? Yes. Link?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Out.
Yes.
Discussion items. We are at ordinance number 421, amending chapter 90, animals.
Madam Mayor, tonight you guys have in front of you the most recent changes to the ordinance based on the feedback that has been provided from previous meetings. So before we brought this back for approval, we wanted to bring it back and give council one last opportunity to discuss. So that is why it is in front of you all tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions. If I can't, then Adam, we can get them back to Adam and he can answer at the next meeting.
Thank you. Are there any, we'll start off with any resident questions about the ordinance number 421 about chickens? Hearing and seeing none. Okay, we are going to Councilwoman Simons.
I'd like to comment last, please,
Okay,
if you don't mind.
okay. Councilman Link.
I don't have any comments on it. It looks like it was updated to what we talked about.
Councilwoman Miller.
Going over this, it looks like this is what we agreed upon or talked about the last meeting, so I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Councilwoman Howard.
All I want to add or mention is that in the original language, it was a maximum of 12 total chickens on any single property, and I'm glad that was raised up to 15 chickens on one lot, 1 acre in size or greater.
Councilman Hicks.
No, everything looks to be pretty well aligned with what we discussed and all agreed on. So, no comment.
Councilman Dick.
And someone who can't have chickens regardless of how we get this done. I have no comment.
All right, so I'm going to rebring what I brought the last time, which was 75 feet from the residence with a 25-foot setback from the property line. That way, the 25-foot, the residents on the neighboring yards will not be impacted by anything. It does match up with the wetlands. And then the 75-foot, because that will, with a good number of our neighborhoods, do what the condo associations have asked for. The ones that have contacted me about that. So I'm bringing that up again. Brenda, go ahead.
I agree with that. I think that was the only issue I had with this. was the footage went from 200 to 50. I think 75 is more appropriate. So if there was anything to change, that is the one thing that I would agree with.
Is there any further, Pam?
Madam Mayor, thank you. The one thing I want to mention is, and you mentioned it, wetlands. The definition of wetlands can be obscure, and the best thing to do is to call the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, because that is a confusing topic, and what we think aren't wetlands probably indeed are because of hydric soils. That's all I'm saying.
Madam Mayor? When you're taking out to make it out to 75, you're talking about ordinance within side of an HOA, correct? A lot of our residents don't live in an HOA, a lot of downtown Linden. Raising it up to 75 would keep a lot of those residents out. 50 would keep them in. And I know right now we have people out there with 50. I would like to see it stay in. Thank you.
Madam Mayor? If you look at the press that we've got over this, and if you've been looking online, even at MI Live, Tri-County Times, we've got great reviews, we've got positive press on this subject that have been claiming that the city is doing the right thing for the residents. And they've even quoted other cities like Benton and stuff that are only allowing 3 chickens and stuff. And they're saying that Linden is moving forward to help their residents and give them something that is nice. So I think the 50-foot now will bring people back in town. A 75-foot lot is too far. Their lot won't handle. By doing that, we've lowered the number of the chickens for that lot. So we don't have a small lot with 25 chickens on it. You got a small lot with 6, you got a medium lot with 10, and you got a big lot with 15. I think we've kind of hit all the numbers that we need to hit. We've accomplished what we've done. It's a positive thing. I think we should just move forward. Thank you.
Ellen? Can you, I believe I've asked this, but I want to do it one more time. How many calls have y'all gotten in the last 2 years on chickens?
In regards to the keeping of chickens?
Or people being interested in having chickens?
Okay, for keeping of chickens, to my knowledge, we haven't received any within City Hall. Like I had said before in a previous meeting, it was during COVID where we got the most calls in regards to the keeping of chickens. As far as any violations or complaints, that's something that the police department would have the information on, but I know it hasn't been a significant amount.
You asked my question, Madam Mayor, and that's my concern, is that this wasn't brought forward by a resident. The resident didn't have a problem, or they weren't making any requests for this, so I see that, or believe that it would be in our best interest to come to a happy medium and stick with at least 75 feet.
I know that we have a lot that are not, in HOAs. I can speak to that because I have been contacted by a couple. And so to amend their bylaws in an HOA community is going to cost legally between $5,000 and $6,000. And that, of course, will get then dispersed amongst the residents in that community. It also requires, in most cases, from what I have been told, a majority vote. And from also equally what I've been told, the majority of the HOAs, condo associations are having a hard time getting the residents there, which means that if this is not something that they want in a condo association, I don't want to speak on behalf of condo associations. They have contacted me. It's my job to disseminate that information. And that's all I'm doing, is disseminating the information from the people, the residents that have contacted me with their concerns. That's all. I just want to be very clear on that.
Madam Mayor, may if you read the chicken ordinance, it states in there, we've got a clause for HOA, condos, and associations that have their own bylaws. It states in that Adam's put in there that if a permit is granted to a citizen, the citizen comes in and asks for a permit and gets granted a permit. The HOA's rules oversee our ordinance. It states right in there that our permit is now null and void. So the HOAs have no problem. They have to spend no money because now, in a normal world, if we didn't put that in there, that an HOA oversees the chicken thing, then they would have a problem. We've set up in there to where it protects them.
Actually, with the 200-foot setback that has been for years what we have had. That is what we have always had. There is no HOA condo association that has had a 200-foot setback, so they've never needed to put that in anything in their bylaws. Now, this makes it so that they do. So you can't supersede something.
We're looking at something that's a very few over the years of many. That's all I have to say.
Madam Mayor, there's a lot of discussion on HOAs. Has anybody bothered to talk to the HOAs? Well, I mean, you know, maybe it'd be nice to hear from an HOA. Because, I mean, I don't think we can presume to talk for them. I know you talk, so I'm not, no, I know you're not presuming.
No.
But I think it's safe to say that they should probably come to the table and we should table this until a further time.
It's just a discussion, and I would encourage them.
Otherwise, we're not including everybody. We're not being inclusive if we don't include the homeowners association's views here. And I know we're supposed to be open and we're supposed to be, you know, transparent, and we're not being transparent if we don't include all parties to the table.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I guess, Mike, do you have any advice on just good governance or good policy for when adopting an ordinance in this instance in reference to the HOA discussion? Do you have any suggestions there? And hopefully maybe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot either, and if you don't, I understand totally.
No, I really don't. I would encourage you, I mean, obviously we cannot, this is an ordinance that is going to be citywide, and so it needs to be prepared and considered as it may apply to everyone. And like anything else in government or non-government, you're not going to make everybody happy. So this is a topic, strangely enough, I think that has been talked about more than some of your more controversial, bigger topics. So it's something that can be revised once it's in place and you encounter some situations. So that's really all I have.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I would just make the recommendation that at some point, you know, we've got to do the best that we can with the amendments and the feedback. I think Adam's done a good job of incorporating that. So if we could just tonight, before we leave, have an understanding that we are bringing it back for a vote and just either let it be voted on and or let it die, one of the two tonight. So that way we can move this off of all of our plates and things. So if we could at least try to have that resolved, that would be helpful. I again know that, like Mike said, we're not going to be able to make everyone happy on this. As far as the issue tonight is the 75 feet setback adjacent or with the adjacent dwellings.
And the 75 and the 25 from the property line is what I had asked for.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would still like to have the 50 setback the way it is on this piece of paper. I know of a couple people on Tickner Street that has chickens. This will make it not possible for them. They've had these chickens, probably not legally, for years, but it does help the family with the chicken issue, with having eggs. Thank you.
If I may make a suggestion, so I don't believe there's even a motion on the table. So you can make a motion, if this is to be acted upon, it can be to adopt it as is. It can be to adopt it with specific changes, or it could be to postpone it for further consideration. And I think that's going to bring things to a head, and we're all going to know what the consensus is. I said, if it's an action item.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to adopt this as is.
I'll second it. So we'll settle it in 2 weeks.
Ready for roll call?
We're not supposed to vote.
Armstrong,
No, we're not voting.
No.
You are voting right now, that's what you're doing.
Link,
I thought you-
That's what you just said.
Yes?
That's what you're doing.
Simons,
No.
Howard,
No.
Dick,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Motion carried. Motion fails 4-3.
To clarify, the motion was to adopt the ordinance 421 as presented.
For a vote, I thought it was for a vote for 2 weeks.
Is that what you meant, Mike? I'm
I
sorry.
understand what you meant.
That's what I thought Mike
Right.
was saying, is what do we want to bring forward in 2 weeks?
Oh, is that the motion? Was, we wish to bring it forward as is in 2 weeks?
Because we don't usually vote on it, it'll work.
Okay. Did everybody understand that that's what the motion was, as opposed to adopting it tonight? Okay, I see what you said. I mean,
Okay,
that's
but now we have a failed motion to not bring it back. That's basically what happened.
As is.
I thought we were.
Or just
I thought we were
leave it
adopting
as is, I guess, I'm sorry.
I thought it was adopted.
Oh, I thought it was to adopt too.
Oh dear.
You don't vote it.
Okay.
I think it was to figure out which way
So-
we're gonna go.
We're at the meeting tonight. In as much as there was a misunderstanding of what you were voting on, there could be a motion to rescind that last motion, and then we can start anew.
Madam Mayor, I will make a motion that we rescind this.
Support.
Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, Attorney Gilbert, when you rescind, isn't it the person who made the motion and the person who seconded it?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
But I thought that.
I'm sorry.
that's
I
what
make
we
the
got.
motion to rescind, please.
Second it.
Ready for roll call? Link,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simons.
Yes.
Motion rescinded.
Well, there can be another motion. Again, we're talking about what comes in 2 weeks, or there is no motion, and it just comes back in 2 weeks. And there can be action.
Yeah. Madam Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
this is a discussion item on the agenda tonight, so it would come back again without any kind of motion being made. Correct?
It would be, but what we're asking for is when it, so at this point, I'm gonna bring it back as written. That's what I'm hearing. Correct? Because I don't, okay.
But I mean, I agree with what Alan's saying is, okay,
Needs it right.
really the question mark is the discrepancies, right? The 75 feet, 50 feet, 25 feet from a property line versus I assume that the current is somewhere around 15 feet from a property line and put a shed, 5 feet, okay. So, I think we need to make a decision on that, which one we're going with, so that it can be voted on. Otherwise, we're voting on some,
Okay, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
here's the problem. If we start changing the setback from the sides and the corners, now we're starting to go into a totally different ordinance. Okay, so now we're doing 2 ordinances now, because the setbacks and stuff, as he states in it, is already set in our normal ordinances for all outbuildings. For garages,
So-
for for
Because this is specific,
sheds.
yeah, because this is specific to chickens, you guys can put in there, property line, requirements specific to chickens.
I propose we bring it back, next, for discussion next time with the 75-25, as we discussed.
Let's let Adam look at it. Let him give us his professional opinion.
So I think, I mean, Adam has looked at this, Adam's looked at it at Lincoln, and I think his response after talking with him would be that the council really needs to hash out what they want to see in the ordinance, that he feels that the bones are here for best practices with this, but ultimately when it comes down to setbacks and the feet from adjacent dwellings, that really ultimately comes down to what you guys would like to see in it, so.
Yeah, a couple things. One, I just want to make a statement to make sure that all the council members address you before speaking. I know this has not been as big an issue with our council, but other meetings it has been. Second question would be to Mike. Mike, I guess we can make a decision tonight. We can decide, do we want to proceed forward with the 25 or 50 for the vote coming up? And the same thing for the 5 foot or the 15. We can make that decision here and then vote on the ordinance as a whole at the next meeting. Is that
I don't
is
see,
that accurate?
yeah, I don't see a problem with that, no.
Okay.
Pam? Well, really, it seems like we are stuck on the distance of 50 or 75 foot. And it seems like we should probably, instead of talking about this endlessly on forever, and most of us are okay with the 75, the majority is okay with the 75 foot. Well, I would make a motion that we change that, accept this, with the exception of that language that it's changed to 75 foot, in order for it to get passed. Otherwise, we're gonna be talking about this forever and ever, amen. And you wanna get it done, so, and we're agreeable to 75 feet.
I think so.
So Madam Mayor, just to clarify, we're not asking for any motion, this is just a discussion
Until
item.
then.
We would just like, so if, the way that I hear it tonight, we have 3, Pam, Brenda, and the mayor that is asking for consideration for the 75 feet setback,
And
correct?
Brad voted yes, or no on the 50 feet as well.
So I have no chickens in the fight, so I just want the vote to take place at a.
For the sake of the conversation, we can bring it back as written tonight and consider it for adoption as written and at the next
Or
meeting.
if the consent agenda looks like 75 feet, excuse me, Madam Mayor. Okay, 75 feet, the 25 feet, I think, is the only thing that we're really choking on.
Okay, so
So, I mean, if we could come up with an agreement, not 25 feet, I think 75 feet, I think, would be fine. We just, let's get the last number down and have it come back.
I
at
just
that.
don't want it sitting on somebody's property. I think that's part of the concern for me, is having chickens in, a neighborhood residential area that could be affecting, if they're in the middle, 6 houses.
Well, problem being with that though, 10 feet would be more reasonable because you also have an outside run. So on a smaller lot, if you go 25 feet, then now they can't run their lot, their pen either way. That would go above and beyond. I think 10 feet would give them enough room now, 10 feet on the other side to be able to run their coop. Now the whole thing is over. I think that's more reasonable. Everybody give and take a little bit.
I can live with 75-10.
I can live with that too.
Agreed?
Jerry?
Yeah. Ready to
You live
get
with
down
that?
with chickens, let's move on.
Amen.
That's why I said, let's move on.
Rabbits.
All right.
I mean, this is going in such a positive direction, for it to stall over something stupid like this. We need to rise above and beyond. So, let's please do that.
75 and 10.
Okay, so
10 for the setback from the property line?
Correct.
And 75 feet from any dwelling or?
Correct.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Next is ordinance number 422, amending sections 154.024, 154.231 through 154.232 of the zoning ordinance.
Madam Mayor, this is not, we're not asking for an approval tonight. This is, again, just a discussion item for your guys' consideration. The Planning Commission has spent some time, along with Adam Young, our zoning administrator, working on these amendments. The ordinance makes several technical, so these changes are more technical in nature, but important updates to make sure that we align with the Michigan Planning Enabling Act as well. So the key changes here are reducing the number of copies required for the site plan submittals from 12 to 3, clarifying Planning Commission membership rules, including how members may be removed for cause, and requiring the commission to hold at least 4 meetings annually instead of monthly, aligning with the Michigan Planning Enabling Act overall. The amendments bring our local ordinance in line with state and current practice. So that's really all they are. Chris, do we have really anything else to add to that?
There's also alignment with the bylaws that was taken into consideration as well when the Planning Commission amended their bylaws.
So if there's no, again, we'll happy to try to answer any questions. If there's any feedback, we can take that back, and before it would come back for council, we would make those changes and then bring it back for adoption later on. We have to set a public hearing, don't we? Or no, did we already do? Just adoption.
Yeah, it's done.
Just adoption.
Are there any resident questions about ordinance number 422? Hearing and seeing none? Brad? Councilman Dick, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Councilwoman Howard?
Since the planning commission went through it so closely and so well, and they approved to go forward, I'm good with that.
Councilman Link?
I'm good to proceed.
Councilman Hicks?
I'm good.
Councilwoman Miller?
I'm fine.
Councilwoman Simons?
No additional questions. Thank you.
And I have no additional questions.
Okay, we will bring that back at a later date for adoption then.
Item C, housing focused potential zoning ordinance amendments.
So we do have a number of things that the Planning Commission's been working on in front of you guys tonight. Again, we're not asking for adoption, so we don't need any motions or anything like that. But the Planning Commission's been reviewing these possible amendments funded through a housing readiness incentive grant from MISHDA. The goal is to expand housing options, affordability as well. Proposed changes include allowing accessory dwelling units, townhouses, cottage court style developments, reducing minimum floor area requirements, and adjusting parking and open space provisions. Again, tonight's not adoption, but the opportunity for council to just provide feedback and any questions that you might have again, and maybe Mayor Pro Tem Dick would have any further additional comments on that, but they've spent some time. This is also part of a bigger process with our redevelopment ready communities process and aligning our zoning ordinance in compliance with that so that we can become certified as a redevelopment ready community. So happy to try to answer any questions and take any feedback to Adam.
Do any residents have any questions on the housing focused potential zoning ordinance amendments? Seeing none? Okay. Councilwoman Simons, any questions?
The one thing that we have here, I agree, this is nice, I don't have any questions about it. But the one thing that I'd like to just bring up is that you've said redevelopment ready a few times. I just want to make sure that everyone on council understands what that means, and it means basically that we follow a set of standards, and then we can be certified, right? As redevelopment ready, which means we could.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I can expand on that. The city actually started long before I came into the picture, I think it was in 2017, the city started down this process with the state of Michigan, or actually Michigan Economic Development Corporation, to become a redevelopment ready certified community, which means that you're positioning your community to be more proactive to development instead of reactive, right? So you're taking into consideration standards and rules and procedures that help to, again, be more proactive to development and make the processes a lot more efficient, okay? It's a lengthy process. We've been trying to finalize the redevelopment ready certification process for some time. It takes some time. This would be probably one of the last largest steps, I guess, that we have in that process, is making the amendments to our zoning ordinance. So the Planning Commission has spent quite a bit of time on this, along with Adam as well. So a lot of work went into it, and I think that, again, this is the last big item on our list to move this across the finish line for certification, so.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Miller,
No questions at this time.
Councilman Hicks,
No questions at this time.
Councilman Dick.
As everybody's saying, this is a big part of the redevelopment ready initiative. And this started essentially because obviously it's part of the redevelopment ready, but also last year the state was really trying to push zoning preemption, where the state was going to mandate, this is what you can now do in your city, township, village. Your houses are going to be this, your houses are going to be that. That was a big push. This right here puts us in front of that to align with what they are looking at doing right now. This year they're talking about incentives for communities that have this package in place, up to $100,000 for a down payment assistance for a house. They're not talking, a low-income house or anything like that. They're talking about actual real money to assist people. And this is one of the pieces that counts towards getting that funding.
Councilwoman Howard.
I appreciate that we're doing this now and we're adding such things as accessory dwelling units and things like that, which would allow someone to build on like a parent attachment to their house. And especially the economy efficient dwellings, and so many people, struggle with the housing, and that is so affordable. And then I want to point out in 154.101 townhouses, the minimum, letter B, so we need to correct a minimum lot area. It says a minimum lot area of 20,000, in parentheses it says 12. So, gotta correct that one to 20,000 then. It's letter B. You see that?
I don't
It's
have it, but no, we'll know.
154.101 townhouses,
Yeah,
letter
if there's
B.
any correction
Third
there,
sentence
we'll-
down.
Okay, we'll make the necessary
Okay.
correction.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Link.
I guess, it looks like basically what they're trying to do is open it up to allow more multifamily dwellings, reducing the size of the homes, the minimum size of the homes in the city. And my concern with this, if you reduce the size of the homes, what does that do to affect the property values of the existing homes? If now the homes are smaller, the homes are of less value, what does that do to the current residents? If we have an influx of a lot smaller homes, multifamily dwellings, does that make the city more or less appealing to the people who live here right now?
If I may, Madam Mayor, I can address that. We already have a smaller housing unit development in the city, and actually came in Sandalwood, it's Northbridge. It's right up our city limit, west side. They are, 1,200 and 1,100 square feet and 900 square feet, I believe. So they are smaller units, and they were supposed to sell for about 150 when they came in. They're way over 220s now. The 2 bedrooms are selling like hotcakes, and they had to come back for a zoning amendment to actually allow to build 2 larger 2-bedroom units in their last row. So it's not affecting it all. This whole ordinance doesn't really pertain to Linden much because we don't have that much open space to build. If Now, like the city of Detroit or something like that, that has, you know, hundreds of acres, thousands of acres to build on, it affects them. For Linden, it really doesn't affect us much.
Respond. I know there's 2 homes on my street that were not much larger, they're smaller homes. And I think one was for $350, and one was for, I think they started out at, was $375 or maybe a little closer to $400,000. These aren't large homes, but you know, I know the $200,000, wow, it is a lot of money, but okay, if your $400,000 house goes down, it's still going down. That would just be my concern. And then talking with people, you know, the residents in Linden, when I was out knocking on doors, you know, do they want more multi-family homes and stuff in the city? And that was some of the comments that they made when we were walking around the streets and talking to people. And that was part of the anger, I guess, that the people had with the current situation that the city was in. How much? I can't, it's not an amount that you could, I didn't ask them, you know, how big of an issue is this with you, but that would be, you know, my big 2 concerns. One, is this what the people of the city want that live here now? And then 2 is, what's the effect of having those financially on the city, everybody else's property values, excuse me.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
The project you're talking about, is that a senior?
It was
retirement?
designed as a retirement senior.
Okay, so they have their bylaws, their ages and stuff coming in?
Right.
Okay, that was my question. Thank
And,
you.
you know, and that's it, you know, to affect property values, Councilor Links, you know, you would have to be able to put those in that same neighborhood that you're in. There's just don't have room for them. If you did something like this, you have to look at what property we have available to do it. That's the only reason I'm not concerned with it, because we don't have the property to do it. I agree with you on, you know, nobody wants to see, you know, Linden with, all of a sudden we're 150,000 apartments.
Yes,
You know,
yeah, right.
Nobody wants that.
Yep. And we don't have a lot of space, as you're saying.
Any further questions? We're going to move on to D, conditional rezoning request for 210 Oak.
Again, Madam Mayor, another item from the Planning Commission. They've been very busy. So they approved a conditional rezoning, and a conditional rezoning allows a property to be rezoned with specific conditions voluntarily offered by the applicant, which I think the applicant is here, just in case anybody had any questions specific to her specific situation. To limit future uses. This helps balance neighborhood concerns with the owner's development goals. So again, we're just, this has to come before council for final approval. So have it here in front of you guys for any questions, comments, feedback. And again, the applicant is here in case you guys have any specific questions.
Councilwoman Howard. And then, actually, first, are there any resident questions about 210 Oak?
I've never questioned, but I have a comment. Don't we live there?
You can,
Yeah.
Well, historically, that's always been a multi-family. Growing up, I grew up on Franklin Street, so we lived place. It used to be called the Enix House, and then they turned it into multi-family. So I don't know if it was zoned multi-family, but it's always been, for the most part, multi-family.
thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none? Okay. Councilwoman Howard.
No questions.
Councilman Dick.
This is coming in front of us because the resident needed a rezoning. She has no change, it's not gonna be a change of use or anything. She just needs a rezoning to get a mortgage. You know, it was non-conforming, it's right, it said, it's multifamily non-conforming, has been forever. It was just, you know, overlooked or allowed back in time. All she's doing is, we're changing the zoning designation to R4. She is going to comply with the regulations for R3, which she basically is right now. So nothing's gonna change for use.
Councilman Higgs?
So it was zoned as multifamily?
It was not it's not currently zoned, nor was it zoned as multifamily ever. It has been operating as multifamily for over 40 years, as far as we can tell.
Okay, so there's.
It's existing non-conforming. It has separate utilities for all the units. So at some point in time, it was allowed by the city.
How many units?
3.
So it's a triangle.
Correct.
Okay, that's perfect.
Councilwoman Miller?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Councilman Simon?
No questions.
Councilman Linden?
Sure. I guess the statement is, my question is, so it's been operating for, I believe it was 40 years in the write-up. That it's been operating outside what it should have been regulated, or operating. And it's one building, one resident. I know we had brought up, granted it's a little bit different when we're talking about garbage cans, but we're saying, hey, we're gonna make changes to ordinances for one individual. If we set that precedent, then anybody that comes forward with a ordinance might, now granted, this was a little bit bigger than a garbage can situation, but I think, and maybe Mike can answer, if that does set a precedence moving forward on changing ordinances for individual houses or buildings. That would be my question.
Happy to speak to it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is a totally different situation than the
Yeah.
garbage or something else like it. The only way, I suppose you could do rezoning throughout the entire city, but generally it's brought to you on a parcel by parcel basis, an individual basis. So in this case, it's one particular property owner, but that's the only way it can be handled.
Okay.
So it doesn't set a precedent because anybody can do it right now. You just need to evaluate under, the specific circumstances of this property, whether you think it's appropriate or not.
Okay, thank you. I'm fine then. Thank you.
And I have one question. So the conditional piece, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, but that is basically when and if the property changes hands, then it will have to come back by either the new owner or whatever, or no?
If I can get some clarification. So in my packet, there's the request, which appears to be a straight rezoning request. The conditional rezoning is for a different parcel. Am I mistaken in that regard?
Can I speak? Madam Mayor?
Yes. Can you
Anna?
yes, please.
This is what I submitted is a conditional rezoning, that it can only be used as, currently is being used for a triplex or what is already allowed under the R3. As opposed to the R4, Councilman Dick can probably speak to this because he was in the last meeting, but there's a lot of other things that could be in the R4, but I'm just asking for the triplex, which is what it's been operated at for 50 many years, to continue. Now, when we had the planning commission meeting, they said I couldn't build on anyway. So I can't make it a quadplex or whatever is bigger than that, or a big complex, because of the size of the lot. So I'm just asking for it to be approved, to be zoned in conformance. I guess in conformance is the part.
Do we have a statement of conditions in this case?
We do. Everything is included in the packet, including the minutes and the approval from the planning commission. And then the statement of conditions is in there.
So
as well.
The one I have is statement of conditions by Rare Holdings LLC, dealing with a totally different parcel that's in my packet.
Yeah.
It is. I apologize.
It's, definitions of rezoning are in the back.
They are in there, but that is included as well.
Yeah, we're hoping should have been in there.
So the statement of conditions is in a letter that she has drafted on July 21st as a condition to the approval of R4 district zoning for
Page
two,
232.
yeah,
232.
page 232.
So to answer the mayor's questions, if you approve this, then those conditions, they stay with the property, they run with the property. So if there's a new owner of the property, that does not eliminate those conditions continue. So this isn't owner dependent, it's use dependent.
So I guess the question that I have is, can you make it owner dependent? Can that be done? I'm just
Madam Mayor, I
wondering.
think they're asking you to speak up, they
Oh,
can't hear.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going, I'm almost done. Can you make it owner dependent?
No, you
No.
can't. Zoning is done with the use of the property, not the owner of the property. And if you make it dependent on the owner and you approve it here, and new owner comes in and asks for it and you turn it down, then you run into an equal protection argument. Why was it good for that person but not good enough for me?
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, the conditions that she's requesting are in there that was approved by the planning commission for next step. So there was additional in the packet from the Rare Holding, so our
Thank you.
apologies. Yeah.
Are there any further questions about 210 Oak? Okay, seeing none, let's move to E, Bridge Street mural proposal.
Something not planning commission related. Kristen, do you want to give them?
Something no offense to the planning commission, but it's a little more fun.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring this to you for introduction this meeting. Pending Historic District Commission approval, it will be back for a final decision for final consideration by the council September 22nd. We've been going back and forth, corresponding with Heather Johnston, the owner of Bridge Street Boutique. And she has put together this project proposal stating the purpose, projected and estimated timeline, as well as the proposal and the costs associated. So she is requesting approval of funds and some support there, as well as, of course, approval of the design from the Historic District Commission. And the location will be on city infrastructure. So we would just need council's opinion here. Any questions or feedback, I can take back to the applicant as well.
Thank you. Are there any resident questions or comments about the mural? We're going to start with you, Councilman Deck.
I don't have a problem with the concept, but, you know, the maintenance of it going forward, and, you know, city funds would be a whole different story too. If the applicant was bringing it to us as a community development project or something like that, or just a community project, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm worried about upkeep going forward, you know, who it belongs to and such. You know, if there's vandalism or, you know, how this is gonna be maintained.
Thank you. Councilwoman Howard.
I like the idea of the mural. The only concern I have, and it looks tasteful, and I've seen that wall before, and I think it would be a good addition. And I've seen a lot of people get their pictures down there. That's what I noticed when I was over at the gazebo. I'm thinking, oh, there's a lot of people getting their pictures taken over by the water in this wall. But anyway, my only concern is the maintenance and upkeep. But I do know that the owner owns the building, so the owner of Boutique, they own that building. So going forward, maybe it's just getting her a clarification from her.
Councilman Link.
I have the same concerns that that Councilman Dick, or Mayor Pro Temp, whatever your official title is, sir. I'm assuming that I believe it was $3,000 was what the total was that they're asking the city for that money?
They're asking for support.
Okay. And then also, then who's gonna do the upkeep and touch that up? I don't know who that would be. I know who I'm looking at, but.
Those are all questions that we've got, yeah, so this
Yeah,
is.
so that would be my concerns is moving forward. How do we keep it up? And then I although it looks nice and it would be nice to have, I don't know, is there a better way that we could spend $3,000 for the city?
Thank you. Councilwoman Simons.
My concerns have been expressed, I'll wait for the answers.
Councilwoman Miller.
Looking at this, it looks beautiful, but my concern is the upkeep of it. Exactly, I see grass, I'm not sure where the water is going underneath of it. Is that the bridge? And the water goes underneath the bridge?
To the right is
To the right.
Okay. Right now, I know the city is spending a lot of money for many things. And just looking at the mural on the side of the building at the city hall, and the upkeep we should have been putting in there. I just really hate to see us spend money right now. It's beautiful, I think it's a great addition, but right now, I don't know unless we get someone to guarantee the upkeep for this. I don't think we could spend the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hicks.
Yeah, my question is, and I'm gonna take this in a little different direction because my wife is an artist. She's claiming to be an artist. She's shown herself as being an artist. She, at that point in time, when she creates a piece, she now owns that piece. So she could actually charge to have photos taken in front of it and things of that nature, unless she were to sign it over to us as we bought the piece from her. So that we have to address, because that is a possible problem down the road. 2, go back to the picture, please. 2, we got a water tower in it. We're gonna be water towerless here in the future. If this is gonna be something that's gonna be up on our thing, we need to be current.
That has been adjusted.
Okay, so that has to be addressed. So those are my 2 factors. Yeah, the maintenance and stuff, yes, that's concerned, but I'm more concerned about the artist part. Licensing. Thank you.
All of the questions that I had many, have now been addressed, so thank you. Pam?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
One thing I wanted to bring, I'd asked Ellen about it, and she said that possibly this would be something that would be along the lines that the DDA, along their wheelhouse, as far as the financially, but so supporting it, I guess. But then another question that I was thinking about, I mean, we have a lot of great artists at our school, right? So if the school was to allow that mural each year, senior class or something, art students come out and put a mural for their year, maybe that would be something that they'd want to do, and it wouldn't cost us $3,000 and upkeep, because they upkeep it every year.
Madam Mayor, really
Great idea,
quickly, sorry.
I just wanted to say that was a great idea, Jerry. Okay. Then Ellen, then you. Sorry. Go ahead, Ellen.
So this is something, the owner at Bridge Street Boutique has been a huge asset to the downtown, and is excited about all things Linden and things like that. And I think she was just trying to bring up some ways to look at some beautification potential projects and stuff like that. This is something that is definitely in the wheelhouse of the DDA, and the DDA has looked at other murals and things like that, much more expensive than the $3,000. And done by other artists and things like that. As she mentioned in her mock-up, though, it is a local artist. And so I don't know that it's necessarily the overall budget that she's looking at. I just think that, tonight it's really for you guys to consider, because it would be going on the bridge within the downtown, and that is the city's, and stuff. And just to get her feedback on the overall art, I guess, like Jerry had mentioned. And things, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, if anything I'm saying or conveying is not right. So I definitely think that she'll be bringing it forward. Obviously, she's got to take it to the HDC for approval, but then I think she'll be taking it forward to the DDA. And these are all things that we could potentially work out with the DDA as far as, maintenance, upkeeps, and things like that. Some of you may know or have been on council long enough to remember the mural that they put on the side of City Hall, sometimes referred to as Bureau Gate, but so that mural was done by students in the art class, and it was great. And the vision at the time was something that was fun and festive for the community. But now we have the situation where the building is in disrepair on that side of the building, and at some point it's going to need to be addressed, right? And so there has been some controversy with that, with the city potentially doing something different in the past and stuff like that. So I think this is all good feedback for us to take back for the owner to consider. What is the long-term maintenance? What does this look like? What are you expecting of us and stuff like that? But I definitely wouldn't want to necessarily discourage the overall project if she can find the funding and stuff like that, and it does meet the approvals. So I think tonight was really about thoughts, comments, just overall feedback, and appreciate that. So I think Heather is just excited about bringing some opportunities like that to the city overall. So.
Madam Mayor?
Just a second.
Okay, so I kind of think that we're maybe looking at this wrong. I don't think she's asking for money. I think she's just looking at the picture. Because nowhere on here does it say she's requesting any funds. I think she plans to fund this, and she just wants us to prove the mural.
Madam Mayor, I'll let Kristen answer that. She spoke with her directly.
Yeah, it was conveyed to me that she would welcome city support. She didn't come out right and say, we're still gonna do it even if we don't get the support, so that's something I can circle back on.
Thank you. Councilwoman.
I would like to convey to Heather, the owner, what a great idea this is, because we do need beautification in our city. And I would hope that maybe the businesses, the DDA, and other, volunteers would like to do this. I think our biggest worry is the upkeep, in the future, especially being that close to water. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
I'm in agreement with that now that we know the whole story. I mean, I think it looks pretty nice. If we can find a way to do it, it would be an ad.
Any further? All right. Thank you. Item F is the columbarium. Pam.
Okay, Madam Mayor. I'm bringing this to council just as a discussion item to point out there is a columbarium shortage in our county. And I had to, unfortunately, talk to Sharp Funeral Homes and a couple others because I'm helping a family member with the final placement of a relative. And trying to find a columbarium has been really discouraging because Oakwood Cemetery, nope. There's waiting lists. St. John Cemetery, waiting list. And Fairview Cemetery, we've talked about in the past of getting a columbarium, but we don't have one except for one private family one that's in the new section just behind, is it the Mason? I think that's the Masons.
It's behind the Sharps.
Oh, Sharps, okay, yeah, so there is one. But I think we should look at it because there is a shortage of space and more people are going to interring their cremains into a columbarium than actually interment of the whole body into the ground in caskets. And so, and I'm not bringing this because it's a personal thing. I already settled. I bought a burial plot, but I think that other people might find that the cost of a burial plot daunting, and it is. And but I wanted to bring forward that I think we need to look at some of these serious topics too, and not let them go.
Ellen, do you have anything further to add?
I do, Madam Mayor. So we have had this on our list to consider and things, and we have talked with Fenton Memorials about the potential cost and things like that. It's not a simple project because our cemetery is platted. we would have to make revisions there and stuff, then to make adjustments for putting in columbariums instead of just the traditional platted sites. So back in '23, we did get some just overall costs. So it is on our list, and we have had some people express interest, but it is definitely a much larger project than just simply placing. So we can certainly keep that on the forefront of our to-do list and consider it for future budget years and things like that. So, but yes, so we have researched it a little bit. We haven't done anything super in depth, but Fenton Memorials has provided some potential things for us to consider. So.
Jerry, do you have any further questions? Brenda?
I think it's a good idea if it's feasible. I mean, if it's something that we could actually do, definitely a space saver.
Denise?
How much property do we have that's available? Don might know this. When I came in, there was only, we didn't have nothing in the back. Now we're really back there. Do you know how much more property we could have going back farther?
I can get you that number. I don't have it on top of my head.
And do we have an amount of what it would cost? I know over at the Great Lakes Cemetery, they have a couple of them. And what it would cost us maybe to look forward to putting something like that in. Thank you.
I'd be interested to see what the figures are and if it's an inexpensive way to get mom and dad off the mantle, per se, and have a place to have an alternative way. So I would listen to it.
It's not a bad idea because cremation is obviously more popular nowadays, but, it's financial for us because
Right.
you're talking about an outside structure, you're talking it's gonna be marble or some type of stone like that, it's not gonna be cheap. So it just depends on numbers. I'm all for it, I like it. We just need numbers.
So I think I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would like to see this come back at a time and place when it could, with numbers, as well as Councilman Miller's questions being answered of land, if that's possible. Yes.
I do have two additional things. I looked into the cost of the columbariums over at St. John's, and it was actually more than buying a plot. And the columbarium space is like, it holds 2 urns, and that's the same plot. It's a little more than buying a plot because it's so popular. I think that, honestly, we'd be able to pay for that columbarium in a short time. And the other thing I want to do, and forgive me, but I really thank you for talking about this grave issue today.
I'm sorry. Are there any resident questions? I meant to do that first, I apologize, about the columbariums. Seeing none. Any further, council? Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to deer, item G, Pam.
Okay, so I'm sure that everybody has noticed that we've had a deer population surge in the city of Linden. I'm just bringing this forward to your attention because on Friday, my son and I were in our front yard on Silver Lake Road. We live right on the curb. There were 11 deer waiting to cross the street. It was at 5:00. I'm going, I'm petrified because if that many deer cross the road at the same time, it'd be a massive accident. It's bad enough to see one deer get maimed, but a whole bunch like that. But to make matters worse, Triangle Park had 7, and it looked like they were trying to cross to join the herd that was on my side. So this is like a huge, I think it's an accident waiting to happen. And there's other concerns, health-wise, is that deer feces, like all wild animals, have leptospirosis. People like my neighbors with sensitive health, diabetes and heart problems and lung problems and cancer are really susceptible to immune system issues with exposed to some of the viruses and bacteria that are in deer feces. So I'm just bringing that up, but I also want to recognize the fact that I have a friend at work, Sergeant Muehlhauser, and he is a conservation officer, and we have an ordinance here in Linden that we have no hunting, there's no bow hunting, there's no gun hunting. I know that you can barely, if you have a target, you can go talk to Scott Sutter about maybe getting a target practice space set up, but that's it. So I wanted to bring it up that I think we've reached a problem point that we're gonna have some big accidents going forward. And that's all. I value the safety of our citizens, and this is really an endangerment of them. Because I don't know if you've ever seen what damage a deer does to a side of a car, but I had a Jeep totaled because of it. And I was just driving down 25 miles an hour, didn't even see it, came right out of the brush. And there's no way you could have seen it, just ran right across me and took out the front end. So I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know the damage, 12 deer and 7 on the other side, but I'm thinking it could be a real problem. That's all.
Any resident questions or comments about item G, deer? Okay. Tom,
No questions.
Councilwoman Miller.
Well, I agree with Pam. I had a 6-point in my backyard. It was pretty. I got it on my ring. I don't feed them, but we do have an overpopulation, and I do love deer. I don't know what we're gonna do humanely for this problem, but I guess look into the city to see if they can come up with some solutions. As long as we can do it humanely. That's my biggest issue. So I'll leave it up to Don? No. I'll leave it up to someone to see if we can come up with some ideas. Because I know, and then I can go at 2 o'clock in the morning, look at my ring in the back of my house, which I live downtown on Tickner Street, and I have all kinds of deer. So I'd like to see it addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Simons.
Oh, I agree. The deer are a nuisance. I have 42 that people tell me I own. They said, "You're the lady that has all the deer," and I'm like, not on purpose. But my concern is the feces, the ticks. And there's some diseases that the DNR has identified. So, you know, I'm in the backyard, like many people, working on things and doing things in the backyard. And I most certainly don't want to get bit by a tick. I don't want the deer to trample me. I had one in my garden last year, it broke its leg. It was so afraid. My grandchildren were in the yard, they about got trampled. So it's a little more than a nuisance for me. I know we have an ordinance against hunting them. The DNR is opening, around the state, they are opening a hunting in some of these areas. If we have an ordinance against it, what is stopping us from saying, except for if the DNR initiates statewide hunting? So that's kind of where I stand on it. I'd like something done too, but you know, we have to stay within the boundaries and make a good decision on this one.
Thank you. Councilman Link.
I don't have any comments on it.
Councilman Beck.
Madam
No.
Mayor, no.
Did you have any suggestions?
Me? Oh,
Pam?
Pam.
Oh, yes, Sergeant Muehlhauser said that we could have somebody come to our meetings, a work session, and speak to us. We could speak to their wildlife biologist, Kara Colton, and I can forward, I think I have forwarded her email to you in the past as a starting point. But he suggested that this is a big problem in communities statewide, and they're talking to a lot of people about how do we take care of this problem because it does become a crisis. How do we humanely, because that's my concern too. Right? And I've witnessed too many deer shot in our front yard by an officer who is really dreading doing that job. It's awful when you see this.
Most of the areas I know of that they've had these issues, they've always done it with a controlled hunt. We don't have the room to do a controlled hunt in Linden. It's not possible.
There is one place.
There is one place.
There is a, well, there might be more than
There
that, that's
could be,
why.
there could be more than one, but it's gonna be on private property. That's gonna be the issue, it's on private property. Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt, I'm sorry. But we do, there is, that's why they suggest someone come talk to us. And there is the woodlot that is surrounded by Silver Lake Roadhouses and Ripley Road. And it's more than 5 acres. And it's bounded by the cemetery. It's City of Linden property. It's not private. It's owned by the City of Linden, the area behind all the houses, Silver Lake Road. You go down, turn onto Ripley, you go down, and there's a driveway on Ripley that actually belongs to the city that the homeowner has kind of blocked off. You can't get back to the cemetery property, but in the past you could. So it's a bigger than, that's gotta be at least 8, that's gotta be at least 20 acres right there.
Madam Mayor. Oh, sorry, Don, did you have something?
If you include Fairview Cemetery and the property that goes to Silver Lake and over to Ripley, that's a total of about 28 acres.
So, Madam Mayor, this subject has been brought up many times before, and things, and as Pam had stated, our ordinance does not allow for hunting within city limits, and our approach before has been more informative, and anyone that is potentially baiting, they are visited by an officer and encouraged to discontinue, things like that. Losi was an issue previously. They used to leave all kinds of feed out for them, and we had them coming right up to the windows and things like that last year and stuff. But the approach in the past has been more informative. We've gotten it out there on our social media before. We've gotten it out there on the website. I think we have a lot of different times we've pushed out this information, right? So it's come up probably 4 or 5 times since I've been here, since 2019, possibly even more, and stuff. So I don't know that. I think we all know the effects of overpopulation and the diseases and all the things like that. I don't know having a biologist come to do like a Q&A. I think it's more solution-based, like what are the solutions that they would recommend, right? You guys could do a quick Google search and find out what many other communities have done, and there's been a lot of headlines to the south of us with different opportunities that they've had. So we do not allow for hunting within the city limits, but it's not just firearms, there's archery as well and things like that. There can be parameters set. So I guess at this point we can take it back, look at potential, I'd like to have a chance to talk to Chief about it, and then bring it back at a later date. But it has been brought up multiple times since I've been here. And again, our approach has just been more informative, education, that type of thing. So again, council wishes, whatever you guys would like, but that's kind of where, I did want to just raise the point that we have talked about this, before, and the methods and stuff, so.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I address it? I didn't want to say anything, but I've been involved in controlled hunts for years through Oakland County. 2 different metro parks in Oakland County that was very, very successful. We also took it to Kensington to start the program there, but they decided after a year to branch off and hire sharpshooters. Train their own guys to do it. You need the acreage to be able to make it to be feasible. 1 or 2 deer out of 10 acres isn't going to do anything. It's a costly thing to do because you have to set up zones, safety zones, and you have to set up blinds, and you have to have communications between the blinds. It's quite a procedure. I think the more thing that would be more applicable would be crop damage from farmers. They go to the food source. Farmers can file for permits to thin the herds. They sometimes have problems getting hunters to go hunt them. One of the things that we did on our controlled hunts was everything was donated to the soup kitchens in Pontiac. So then it was a charity thing. I think that's a more feasible thing that maybe we talk, Mueller's Orchard was letting people hunt every year. I was actually on their list a couple times. So you've got food plots that if we work with those owners possibly, also if we can work with the farmers. They're out of our city limit, but The deer do not just stay in the city, they move in and out. Okay, they're moving towards a food source and a water source. If you're gonna be serious about it, we gotta look at it that way and contact the farmers, get the permits from the farmers and let them have controlled access by signing in or whatever. So there is possible ways that don't cost the city a lot of money, but it's gonna be footwork.
Any further?
Madam Mayor, if I may, I had to deal with this in a previous career, and typically from my experience, there's a few options. One's to allow hunting. One is to pay and have sharpshooters come in. And then there's a third option where they actually do sterilization. Those last two are very expensive for a community. And I will just advise council, no matter which one of those you pick, they're very controversial, and people certainly show up and have opinions on it. So there's not an easy choice when it comes to making a decision on that.
Thank you. Any further? All right, we're going to go to our business item, the senior center annex remodel.
And I apologize, time-wise, this is why this is in front of you guys tonight for action. I think we talked about when we had our new session that if there was some items that needed to be acted upon, we could do so at our work session. So that's why it's in front of you guys. As you guys know from my updates that I've sent, as well as Tessa's updates and probably even Don's updates, we touched on the Losi renovation and remodel for quite some time. Finally got the bids back, and they came in probably a little higher than we were all anticipating, and so we're taking a phased approach to this, and right now the priority is the annex. So we really do need to do something with the annex. We need to renovate, and that's what we're proposing tonight. This is a little bit of a complex project. It shouldn't be. It should be pretty straightforward, but it's complex because of the funding mechanism. So we have $100,000 for ARPA funding. We have $67,000 in CDBG funding from Benton Township, and then the rest would be from LOSI funding as well. Because of the different funding mechanisms and the times that those come into play, right now we're asking for approval for phase 1 and phase 2. They have to be two separate motions, and I put those motions in front of you guys tonight. So we would have to have a motion to approve the allocation for $100,000 in ARPA funds for phase 1 with PACE construction that covers the initial project management, permitting, structural reinforcement, and critical exterior work of the annex. And then motion number 2 would have to be for the allocation of $47,307 for LOSI general fund dollars for phase 2 to cover case construction, mechanical, electrical, and required contractor allowance. And then the remainder, once we get the okay from the county for the 67, that would come back for the final total of $214,775. So when we put it out to bid, we were not sure, where things would come in. We ended up only getting 2 bids, case construction as well as Cunningham Limp. Cunningham Limp's approach was a 4.5% design build proposal, which was not what we asked for. And so we had to weed out, unfortunately, that other proposal, and so leaving case as the only viable option. The county did give us permission to go to them and work with them directly to pare down the proposal. So that's where we kind of landed with just the annex remodel. And then at a later date, when we're able to tackle the addition to replace the sunroom, then we would obviously bring that back and work with them directly, potentially, if that's council's wishes, to do the addition at a later date. So tonight, what's in front of you is approval for those 2 phases. And they're ready and eager to get to work on things, I think, Don. And so Tessa is prepared and has already been preparing for this as well. The other issue that we have is time frame of the funding. We have to have the funds expended by December 30th of this year for one portion of the funding, and then so I apologize for the complexity again. This should be a pretty simple, straightforward, and overall it is. It's just the funding layers that are factoring in here, so that are making it a little bit challenging. But the annex has definitely needed a little TLC for a very long time. And I know some of you guys that have been back there and experienced, especially the kitchen area, you know that firsthand. So with that, I'll leave it for any questions and then just ask for approval with what's in front of you guys for the recommended motions.
Are there any resident questions or comments?
I have one. I just want to know, is this a total rebuild or is this just a remodel?
Remodel.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Councilman Link.
Yeah, the only questions that I had, Ellen had answered that it was through LoSI, that the city was not funding this, but it's through LoSI's budget. And then just to confirm that the 167,000 was deducted, that's the delta of the overall cost. So, those satisfied, so I have no other questions.
Councilwoman Howard.
Ellen was really thorough in her discussion, so I don't have any questions.
Councilman Dick.
I have no questions.
Councilman Hicks.
Yeah, I got one question for you. The annex, how old is that annex? Is the original annex? Do you know?
I do, I don't have the answer in front of me, but
Was it part of the original when they had the fire that was stolen?
that's part of the old original existing,
part of the
yes.
old-
This was rebuilt in 2013,
So that
actually
one-
Case Construction built this as well.
Okay, that's what I was concerned with.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was taken out in the fire that they had here.
No, it has not, that was the remaining.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Miller.
Do we have a blueprint? I'm one of those people who have to look, of what it's gonna look like or what you're proposing, the building to look, where we're adding on or, what we're doing?
So, as I explained, we're not doing the addition, this is just for remodeling the annex. So the blueprint was only for the potential addition, which we're not able to do because of the funding. And I think in one of my previous updates, I included the bid specs that showed the entirety of the project and stuff, but I can get that to you, Denise. But really, this is just a straightforward renovation of the annex. It would be carpeting, it would be ceiling, it would be fixing the restrooms that are down there, refresh of the kitchen, all of that stuff that's just necessary. So blueprint would be more applicable to the addition, which we are not doing. It's just the renovation of the annex.
Well, I do agree the kitchen needs to be fixed, added on, not added on to, but just brought up to, I guess, modern code.
One of the things that we are considering doing too is, there's 2 rooms that are down there that are existing, that are smaller. It would include some remodeling of that area as well, but those are the only major structural changes would be the bathrooms. We're not making the kitchen bigger or changing the kitchen, we're cleaning it up, putting in new flooring, stuff like that. And then those 2 rooms along with the bathroom is the only real structural stuff.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman.
No questions, thanks.
The only question I have is in the notes of clarification section here. Does that only, first question, does that only apply to if we were doing an annex addition, or is that for both parts? Whether it's a renovation or an addition in the notes of clarification section?
It applies to both.
Okay, so it says, I guess the question I have is, no cost for lead or asbestos abatement or remediation are included. So is there any possible need for any type of remediation?
That's something that they would determine, I mean, to my knowledge, there's not.
Yeah, we're not aware of any, the presence of lead or asbestos. If they do come across it, then there would certainly be an upcharge for handling it.
Okay. Any other type of remediation needed in that area?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay. Any further council questions?
Just one thing.
Yes.
Ellen, are they putting any new appliances in the kitchen?
No, that would be even more than what we should be at, but no, we're not. The stuff's in good condition and they have a maintenance on it on a regular basis. If there's some smaller items that we need to replace, we may do that, but no, for the most part, the commercial stove and all that will be staying and everything, so, yeah.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve the annex renovations in the amount of $214,000.
No, Pam.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Separate.
Here you go. I have to have two separate motions. Yeah, it was,
20,000.
Oh, thank you for that, okay. So I move that we approve the allocation of $100,000 in ARPA funds for Phase 1 of the LoSi Senior Center Annex Renovation Project with Case Construction that covers the initial project management, permitting, and structural reinforcement and critical exterior work.
I make the second.
Miller,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes?
Dick,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes. Do we have a motion on the allocation of the 47?
I make the motion. I move to approve the allocation of $47,307 of the LoSi General Fund dollars on Phase 2 of the LoSi Senior Center Annex Renovation Project with Case Construction that covers mechanical, electrical, and requires contractor allowances.
Simons,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
All right. And now we go to the city manager's update.
just a few things. We are finally live with the cloud service. Today was our first run for payroll. Last week we did accounts payable, we did some cash receipting and things like that too. So far so good. A little bit of a learning curve, but we're doing it. My staff has been great with adapting, and I think it's been positive feedback. Yeah. So positive. So that's been a big undertaking, and I appreciate your all's support through that and understanding as we work through that for the past couple of weeks. It's going to take some time. We're still, working through different training opportunities with them. We have dedicated services for the next week, I think it is, week and a half. So we have some other items that our staff is engaged with them on to make sure that we're up and running and all is good to go. Still working on fiscal year end and audit prep as well. As you guys all know, many of our road projects are wrapping up. So really that's all I have tonight. We've really just been focused on that transition and stuff, and trying to make sure that goes as smooth as possible. So happy to field any questions if you guys have.
Any resident questions for the city manager? Any council questions for the city manager? Okay. Moving on to council comments and reports. Councilman Hicks. Would you like to start us off?
I was on vacation and stuff, so I really don't have anything to report this time. I apologize.
Councilwoman Miller.
First, I'd like to thank for having the lady in here last month for Genesee County senior information. I signed up to have my will and everything else done, which is free for city council, I think, or for the city, for the citizens, senior citizens in the LoSi department. Also, I've been doing classes every Monday online through MLL, which are very informative. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Simons.
No comments tonight, thanks.
Councilman Link.
I'm good, thank you.
Councilwoman Howell.
Just a reminder that this Thursday at Eagles Wooden Park at 7 p.m. that the Genesee County Parks and Rec Formar Nature Center is going to lead an owl walk. And so if you give a whoop, please do come and join us. We will have refreshments, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you. Councilman Dick.
I usually wouldn't hype about this. We have students in the audience tonight, and there was the Zombie Scarecrows and Monsters poster up there on the board for October 18th and 19th. We need people if you want to come out and scare your friends on a trail. So
Lots of fun.
look up Happening in Linden on Facebook or Instagram, and you can come out and scare people. Our counselors have been out there building different things over the years. It's a lot of fun if you haven't been out there.
Thank you.
Maybe do the zombie walk.
All right. And then I have one quick question, and that's I don't really have anything to report. Is there any update on the tree that was spoken on the last council meeting?
I talked to the contractor today, and it should be this week, I hope, that they're going to move.
Excellent, thank you very much, I appreciate that.
What are you planting?
I'm sorry?
What kind of tree are you planting?
We're not now.
You got a dead tree here in the.
Oh, that tree, okay, sorry.
Thank you. All right. And we have no closed session this evening. And so is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
I'm just trying.
Call the meeting.
Bring it up, anybody.